All right, we are in a discussion of AWS solution architect. All right, previous video we've been discussing with the VPC endpoint and their usage. So we are discussing in this video AWS VPC logging options and their use cases. So what we collect from our VPC logs, right? And how we analyze and what are the use cases. So I will probably get questions from these logging options and how do they use. They will ask about this case, what sort of logs you're going to use or what sort of service we're going to use. So this is actually a not talking about these services, but we're talking about these services like Flow Logs, CloudWatch, CloudTrail, Access Logs. This is not we're talking about them, but this is we're talking about VPC, how we collect their logs into these services and what the use of these services. So these logs, VPC, Flow Logs, CloudWatch, CloudTrail, we're going to talk in a different video, but we're going to use their users. All right. So VPC logging options, we can collect following logs in these through these services. So VPC flow logs capture IP traffic information, right? And what sort of traffic coming into your VPCs and how they going through this VPC. And then you got store and analyze log data using CloudWatch logs, right? And then CloudTrail record the API calls and events, right? And then you have S3 access logs, track bucket request, right? And for these common use cases here mentioned, the security monitoring and threat detection, and then you got you need to troubleshooting, network troubleshooting. If some of the service not working, you can use these ones, and then compliance requirement. So you collect them and fix your problems, right? So login services you can use VPC flow logs, uh, network traffic logs, right? And then you can use CloudTrail, so API activity logs, and then you can use CloudWatch to monitoring and analyzing logs, right? Um, So it's a brief introduction. So what do we have in a VPC flow logs, right? VPC flow logs capture network traffic metadata for security analysis and troubleshooting. So they're using security analysis and CrowdTrail records AWS API calls for governance and compliance auditing. And then a CloudWatch monitor resources and applications with details, metrics, and alarms. So CloudWatch, we can collect um, metrics and alarms, and then you got a DNS core login. So record DNS queries from VPC resources from security analysis. So you can see what logs in a DNS, what IP addresses and all other stuff getting queries from where, right? And so in a production workload, this is not really important, but see that you have sort of you can see sort of what you have in each load, what sort of consistency you have in sort of things, right? So this one, so you get S3 access logs, VPC flow logs, CloudTrail, and CloudWatch logs, right? So each one, right, in a dev test environment, production environment, and security critical environment, right? So we could see adoption rates according to workload, right? See that VPC prologues are more in more sort of things in uh, dev test environment and production environment more than 50 sort of things. So each gives you sort of an idea how much in these loads coming up, right? But let's go to next topic. Just briefly talking about AWS VPC disaster recovery plans and strategies. So, what sort of strategies you can use for VPC disaster recovery, and how do they use them, right? It's a quick one to discuss, right? We quick discuss this one key disaster recovery metrics here. So we recovery time objective, maximum acceptable downtime. So how long you can stay until everything restore, and recovery point objective RPO, maximum acceptable data loss. So how much data you can lose? It's a 1 day or 1 hour or few minutes or anything like that. And then recovery time objective is you can how much downtime you can have acceptable maximum 1 hour, 1 day, less than hour, minutes, seconds. That's what it is, right? So in this graph, before that graph, I will go with these other things quickly. So disaster recovery approaches, we discussed these ones as well earlier. So backup and restore, which is lowest cost, right? Use EBS, elastic block storage, and AMI backups across regions, right? So you got something happened in the VPC, so we got from another region, right? And pilot light, so co-infrastructure replicated but minimal resources in another region. Warm standby, scale down, but functional copy of production. You can use that one, and then multi-site. So full production capacity in multi regions, right? Uh, So VPC specific DR best practice. So implement cross-region VPC peering for geographic redundancy. Use transit gateway for centralized connectivity. Deploy Route 53 for DNS failover capabilities. And automate with the cloud formation for infrastructure replication. So use cloud formation service for infrastructure replication somewhere, right? So this gives you an idea and highest cost versus fast recovery. So this goes cost goes up from this direction, and this one is a recovery time objective. How long maximum acceptable downtime, right? Uh, so uh, So the backup and restore method, the basic method, is the lowest cost, and that is up to hours and days, right? You can have hours to days downtime. Pilot light, that means a core infrastructure replicated minimal resources that need to be auto scaling group once it's ready. So tens of minutes. That's a minutes sort of cost is a bit of high. And then warm standby, scale down, functional copy, that minutes of downtime, sort of recovery time, and the multi-site second. You can do DNS failover within seconds to get everything up and running. So that you need to keep on mind, right? Uh, Now we're going to talk quickly AWS VPC and integration with security services. How the security services are protecting AWS VPS. sorry, VPC. So security service for VPC, other than whatever we discussed, like subnet level and instant level security. So security groups is the instant level one is stateful firewall at instant level. So it remember the connection, that's the stateful. So secondly, you can use network ACL, which is a subnet level. Stateless firewall, that means you allowing something outbound, you need to create another rule for inbound. And then you got AWS Shield service, DDoS protection service that can be used. And then you can use AWS Web Application Firewall, right? And then you can use Amazon Guard Duty, continuous security monitoring. So we're going to talk these services separately, but just remember these are the ones we're going to use. So security group, network ACLs, Shield, um, DOS protection, and then web application firewall, and then guard duty, right? So VPC, mm, uh, VPC security best practice, right? Implement a least privilege access. So that's the best thing, like users got a least privilege access. Enable VPC flow logs for monitoring. Use private subnet for sensible workloads. Implement traffic inspection. So if you think your traffic need to be inspected, so you can implement go through a firewall or something, and then you can log these traffics and regularly audit security configurations, right? So here you can see security group instant level. So you can use security group level, AWS Shield, DDoS protection, and then network ACL in a group level, and then internet gateway, right? So that is we talking about security configuration of VPC, and then we going to talk about how do we implement multi-region VPC designs, right? So let's have a quick look at key components of multi-region VPC. So regional VPC, isolated VPCs networks in different AWS regions. So region one got a one VPC, region two got another VPC. So in diagram you can see VPC1 and VPC2, right? Inter-region connectivity using transit gateway or AWS network manager. You can use these two. Data replication, cross-region data syncing strategies, right? So you can use these two to be connected VPC peering, that's a backbone network. So you can direct connect, or you can use transit gateway, these three ways. And if you go into benefits, so high availability across geographic regions, you can use for disaster recovery with cross-region failover with Route 53, lower latency for global use base, right? So if you need to serve your users around different geographic regions in the world, let's say one in America, one in Asia or something, you can use lower latency for global user base, right? So or maybe compliance. Challenges, so increased operational complexity, so getting more complex structures, high cost due to a data transfer fee, so going to be more costing experience because you have to transfer data between these two, right? There might be a consistency issue across regions. You might face some consistency problems because you don't have a control, right? In here, you have sort of a single region was multi-region VPC comparison. So this the value. and it's the cost versus a single region VPC. See that cost is less, and if you go to multi-region, nearly double the cost if you want to keep a multi-region uh, ones, and here the resilience also become a little bit less than a single region. So that's about multi-region VPC design. So we're just going to talk about security best practice for VPC designs, right? Uh, so that's, I think, the slide is just, I think, swept between last one and previous one. It doesn't matter. Key VPC security best practice: implement least privileges for access controls, right? And then use security groups as virtual firewalls, configure network ACLs, enable VPC prologues for monitoring. We have already discussed these things with that. So which ones are in security group, and then ACLs, right? And then see that you got like a common VPC security vulnerabilities by resource type, right? So these are the resource types, and these are the vulnerabilities. So you have EC2 instant, restricted inbound access, right? Default security group, insecure protocols, right? Uh, Missing encryption, inadequate login, sort of things. Each one you got a different vulnerabilities, right? Defense in depth is strategy. Implement multiple security layers within your VPC to protect critical workload, right? And advanced securities, as we discussed, use AWS Shield for DDoS protection. Implement AWS Web Application Firewall for web application. Configure guard duty for threat detection. So that is threat detection then we quickly going to discuss about the traffic flow visualization. Is not really needed, but to get an idea how the traffics are going into internet, and then request coming from HTTP. So internet gateway connect VPC to internet, and transit gateway is a central hub for routing between VPC, right? Then VPC endpoints, direct connection to AWS services, right? So see that the services in the outbound internet go through net gateway to internet, private, and these ones are database traffic here, right? And internet gateway through internet gateway is going into internet, right? Then we're going to discuss AWS VPC network troubleshooting techniques, what we're going to use, right? Let's have a look what are the common issues that you can encounter. So connectivity problems, right? Might be a problem with the route tables, security groups, or network ACLs, misconfiguration. You might not be able to access one of the service due to these problems, right? And then there might be a problem with the DNS resolution, improper VPC DNS settings, right? Might be a problem with performance, the bandwidth limitation or latency issues, right? Um, so troubleshooting tools, you can use. Let me see that troubleshooting. You can use VPC prologues, analyze network traffic, right? And then you can use CloudWatch, monitor metrics and alarms, how much resource being used, and then you can use a reachability analyzer for testing connectivity, right? And here, troubleshooting, right? Check security groups, right? In the sort of troubleshooting, and then verify routes, and then test network access list, and then check flow logs, and then check DNS resolutions, right? Um, sort of troubleshooting, right? And here is step by step methodology, sorry, right? So how do you do is you're going to identify scope, instance, subnet or VPC level, check configuration, you check the configuration in routes, security groups, network access list, right? And DNS. Then you go analyze log, flow logs for traffic patterns, and then test connectivity. You can use ping, trace route, reachability tools, and implement solutions or apply fixes methodically, right? Uh, AWS VPC troubleshooting success rate over time, sort of graph, uh, right? And last for this AWS VPC monitoring strategies with the CloudWatch, right? Key VPC metrics to monitor, right? CloudWatch, you can collect metrics and other stuff, right? So key VPC metrics to monitor. So network in, network out, track data transfer volumes, right? The packet in, packets out, monitor the packet flow. VPN tunnel status, site-to-site connection health, right? And then net gateway port allocation and errors, right? And here in CloudWatch, you can set threshold for abnormal traffic patterns. So you can set up CloudWatch alarm, you get a notification if something happened and monitor for connectivity issues, right? And alert on security group changes. If anyone changes security group or something, you can get a uh, alarm. Track resource utilization metrics. So track utilization and just monitor to keep everything running smoothly. Right? See that you can see some of them security group rule violation, 16, 20 unauthorized access attempt, sort of things you can get from a CloudWatch alarm, right? Um, so in a VPC case, we going to stop in this point VPC because I think we already discussed commonly things like VPC related, but these things like CloudWatch, CloudTrail, all other stuff we going to talk in a separate video. This is what we discuss is related to VPC, how VPC can benefit using these services, right? All right, I believe this is for this video. We're going to see you guys from another video. Until then, thank you very much.